Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 Warhammer battle. This is going to be the Orc Hordes versus the allied forces of the Dwarves and the Empire. For my army here, it's mostly going to be a bunch of savages because I am bringing Wurrzag with a few spells down there. Here we go, Fist of Gork, Brain Buster, and the Foot of Gork. Very expensive with all those spells. He's like almost 3k with this and being on his mount. I think it's called Ripa? I think that's what his mouse name is. But anyway, the front line is going to be a bunch of savage orcs. Behind them, there's going to be 3 goblins, 2 over here, and actually 1 off to the side. We have 1 black orc since we are going up against dwarves, so I thought I needed some armor piercing. Then we also have 3 orc boar boy biggins, including the broken tusk mob. Then off to the side, we have the hammer of Gork and a Doomdiver catapult. I brought artillery against an Empire and a Dwarf player. Very risky, but I decided to deploy them kind of behind the cover of these trees because our ammunition fires in an arc. Dwarf cannons fires in a straight line, so you're going to see, if you pay attention to it, some of these trees actually do block some of the cannon shots, which was the whole point of that. For my allied army, we have more of a lead army here, a bunch of black orcs, a giant, 2 goblin big bosses being led by Azhag with Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech, 3 night goblin archers, crimson killers, and another hammer of Gork. For the Empire player, we have 2 Demigryph Knights, 1 right here, 1 right over there. I believe they're both halberds version. They are. We have a General of the Empire, a Witch Hunter, the Sunmaker, the Hammer of Witches, Silver Bullets, and then a bunch of very cheap infantry spears and a couple swordsmen. Then I thought there was something else. That may be it. And that's a lot of money in just the artillery alone. Oh, right. I also have a Vanguard deployed for a Goblin Spider Rider, which will come into play later. For the dwarves, you have 2 Quarrelers, 2 Thunderers. These are all Longbeards, 2 cannons, a Grudge Thrower, and then they have the Master Engineer with 2 of the buffs, none of the banners. So they're not the most expensive thing in the world, but still pretty expensive. And then a generic Dwarf Lord without the ring. Surprising. The Ring of the Fire is actually pretty good. I think I would always take the Ring of Throngi or Thornring or something on the generic Dwarf Lord. He's pretty good. He's very, very tanky. So right now, I'm actually just going to hold back, and I'm going to have an artillery skirmish with the dwarves, which is kind of crazy as greenskins. But again, some of these cannon shots are, you can see, are being blocked by the trees. And I'm like, well, this may be worth it. So I'm going to try and destroy their ranged part of their army, starting with these Thunderers. Then I'll deal with the Quarrelers, and then we'll start also hitting some Longbeards as well. And I'm just going to kind of sit back, and I think my allies are going to sit back for the most part too, and also do the same thing. Their Hammer of Gork is firing at the Sunmaker and the Hammer of Witches, though. And you can see it's doing some damage here. And lucky enough for my ally, I didn't notice this because I was too busy looking at my side. I guess the Sunmaker is aiming at the Hammer of Gork? Don't do this. Don't do that. The Sunmaker is not good at taking out artillery. It can, but look at its ammunition that it has already, and it's not done much damage. Although, one of the actual things may be down. Oh my god! 1 is firing into a tree stump? I think technically? That's funny. Not for them, but that's funny to see an entire salvo wasted on a tree trunk. But yeah, don't try sniper artillery. You should be, honestly, you should try and get your Sunmaker to shoot my forces. Because we're a bunch of savage orcs, very susceptible to the Sunmaker, even through the physical resistance that they have, which is like 30%? Is that what it is now? I think it's 30%. Yeah. Still, you can deal some damage to them, or even hit the Black Orcs if you want to, although they'll resist a lot of it. But yeah, this early game just going to be a bunch of exchanging. They did manage to destroy one of my Goblin Rock Lobbers here, but we are doing a lot of damage to their Thunderers and their Longbeards and just Quarrelers. Soon here, I am going to pull my Vanguard deployed forces. I wanted to immediately get the Sunmaker, but seeing how little it was doing to anybody, I was like, it's not that important. But I am going to pull them out over and sit over here, and then I think we go for the Dwarven Artillery location with the Forest Goblin Spider Riders. But there's a Demigryph Knight protecting it. And honestly, I didn't even really notice the Demigryph Knight until a little later, and you're going to actually see me. I start moving these up. Not right now, but a little bit later, even though this is moving up. I'm going to start trying to target the Demigryph Knight, which it's probably what I should have done in the beginning, because I was assuming that this player was not really micromanaging their Demigryph Knight over here and not paying too much attention because it's not in their army directly, you know? So I'm going to try and just start targeting down here soon. But again, just exchanging fire. You can see we are doing a ton of damage. The enemy's cannons and Grudge Thrower not really doing too much in return because they're attacking units in the forest, so not that much. Also, a lot of the shots have been blocked by trees, even when they're going after my artillery pieces. Also, we have a random goblin just kind of sitting over here. There goes my Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Sunmaker is finally doing some damage to these Night Goblin Archers. I wanted to try and assist my ally over here because I'm not really going to get too much work done if I throw my Orc Boys over here. There's just so much armor. They could just weather my charge for days. So I want to try and threaten these silver bullets, so I do issue a charge order here, because these Demigryph Knights looked like they were pulling back, and I thought they may be going after my Forest Common Spider Riders. So I wanted to apply pressure to the front of their army and get them to come back over here. Because right now I want these Forest Gobos to go in the back and take out the Dwarf Artillery. It hasn't done too much work against me, but still, like, we don't want it firing if we can stop it. So I'm going to take this chance here soon. Going to pull back our orcs, and they're going to get shot up a little bit, but you can see my allies just pounding them with their Night Goblin archers, destroying the Hammer of the Witches and the Sunmaker. So the Hammer of Witches really didn't get too much work done before it got shut down by the artillery and these Night Goblin archers. So now you can see they're focusing on the silver bullets. So I'm just going to kind of pull back for right now and let them do their thing. And now I'm going to charge out. Like, I didn't need to, but my ally was kind of attacking. So I'm like, I'm not going to just let them attack by themselves. So I'm going to go out as well. Because you can see we still have a lot of ammunition. And ideally, I'm winning this fight anyway. So I was like, we could sit back, but So instead of just sitting right here, I'm actually going to move our army over here into this forest. But we will be charging you soon. Also, the Forest Common Spider Riders, yes. So they charge the cannon, and the enemy dwarves take a long time to respond to this. And then when they respond, I start pulling out, but then I notice all their infantry is just pulling away from the cannons, and they're just going to form a line right here. Everything is pulling out and leaving these cannons and grudge throwers to die to Forest Goblin Spider Rider. All they need to do is throw a long... There we go. They start throwing a Longbeard in here. I thought they pulled everything out. But yeah, they're kind of just withdrawing, and they're just going to form a wall right here and put their range behind it. But unfortunately for them, the Empire ally, it doesn't really have a very strong melee force, so I'm pretty confident that we can take them out. Over here, I was micromanaging my army's approach right here, so we do get caught by these Demigryph Knights. I'm trying to withdraw because I honestly don't want to fight them right now. But I'm going to have to take this fight because they're just slowly destroying my Broken Tusk mob, so we're going to throw these Orc Boy Biggins into the fight, even though they have spears nearby. I don't think my ally sends any forces to help. So we're just going to kind of take them out on our own. But we are doing some good damage there. Oh, no, wait, the Hammer of Gork is assisting me. There we go. They're hitting the Demigryph Knights. But we are kind of getting hit by those spearmen. But we do a lot of damage with the artillery. And so now we're going to charge the enemy dwarf position. I'm trying to support our Forest Common Spider Riders. And again, there was a battle recently where I was fighting basically the wrong opponent for my army. And this is a similar thing. My Savage Orc build would do wonders to the Empire. But the way that we were deployed, it wasn't really in the cards. Like, I could try to move around, but just let my ally do it. And my ally had a bunch of Black Orcs which would tear through the Longbeards. So we are completely reversed. Black Orcs are still going to tear through the Empire, but at least, like, I would have a greater chance against the Empire player than the Dwarf player. So I'm a little hesitant and just hard engaging all these Longbeards because they would win against my Savage Orcs. So I'm just going to kind of deal with their artillery here that they kind of let me take for free. We're going to hit the Demigryph Knights over here with the Savage Orcs, start peppering them with the artillery, and we're going to throw in a group of Black Orcs that have a Fist of Gork on them. Just remember that when Wurrzag casts a spell, for 20 seconds, the entire army, his and allied, gets a 16 melee attack buff, charge buff, and vigor buff? Something like that? Can't remember. I know it's at least attack and charge. So we're going to pin down the General of the Empire who's coming in to kill Wurrzag, so we can then just do some magic damage, and also surround him with the Black Orcs who are now WAD because of Wurrzag. So we're going to try and take out the General of the Empire at this point. And we're being held up by the Dwarf Lord and the Master Engineer, which is not okay, as we're getting hit by the crossbows. But I think I was too busy microing. Yeah, I'm trying to run away again from these Demigryph Knights. So we're not going to let these Broken Tusk mobs go. So they're just going to chase them, and have been chasing for a long time. So I'm just going to be like, well, okay, that's fine. We're going to get these Orc Boys over here to support my allies' attack, who have broken through a little bit of the humans' defenses. But really, there's not much defense for the human to put up against Black Orcs. And now I'm going to start separating my army, and we're going to try a kind of a stagger charge. Because again, I hesitated to charge the Dwarf line too early. Because I see the Black Orcs coming in, and I'm like, well, when the Black Orcs engage, then we can just hit them from the back and it'll be fine. But I'm just kind of getting peppered by the range fire at this point. So the General of the Empire does make it out, pops a potion of toughness, and they're going to go after my artillery, which has almost been all of its ammunition at this point. So I'm okay. That means they're just out of the fight. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. So we're now going to again charge the Dwarf line, because we're taking a lot of damage. I'm trying to get my Orc Boys around the Empire spear lines to try and charge behind. And I'm also going to sneak this Gobbo in between this little gap here to also go behind. Just trying to not engage these Longbeards, because they are hard for these Savage Orcs to deal with. Very hard. So there we go. The Demigryph Knight finally stopped chasing the Broken Tusk mob and is now taking out a Hammer of Gork that had no ammunition. Which is it's great for us. And the Black Orcs are going to start charging into what remains of the Empire infantry, which is just a couple spearmen, the Sigmar Sons. They are backed up by an Empire captain and the Witch Hunter. Right here is going to be a Foot of Gore because I just wanted to drop one. Didn't really do that much damage. I mean, I guess it's 50% damage, but that's a very expensive spell. The thing is, like, the Demigryph Knights is what I was kind of reserving that for. The Demigryph Knights that were over here, the way they were spread out amongst the Black Orcs, dropping a Foot of Gork would have probably hurt me more than them, so I didn't drop it. But I usually bring Foot of Gork specifically to take out enemy cav. But it just didn't work out that way, so I still wanted to drop it, so we dropped it on the Longbeards. And the Black Orcs are now just easily chewing through the Empire Infantry, even the Sigmar Sons, who are slightly tanky, at least melee defense-wise. And there we go, my Goblins snuck around, my one Black Orc unit is now going up the middle. We're going to buff it up with a Fist of Gork, I think, when it's off cooldown. Wurrzag does have the trait that grants 12% damage resistance to everybody around him as long as he is not in melee combat. And right now, I want to get past this front line, which is what I'm trying to do right here. We dropped another wall, I think. Yeah, we dropped another wall. And I want to support the Black Orcs back here with that 12% damage resistance just to add to their already insane tanky stats. Well, tanky armor. General of the Empire comes back for a second attack, and I'm like, nope, we're going to drop another effigy to get on him just to try and keep him out of combat for a little bit longer, do as much damage to this Dwarven line as we can without having to worry about the fear, terror, and armor piercing of the General of the Empire. And you can see, effigy to get does a lot of damage and also keeps him in place. It's a great skill that Wurrzag has. It's part of what makes it really cool. Back here, I'm going to put my Hammer of Gork back onto the artillery piece and finish off its ammunition because it was not totally destroyed. The other Demigryph Knight unit is finally returning back from combat on this Hammer of Gork, and it's going to engage against the Night Goblin Archers. But you can see we have routed the humans' main forces, and now we are just getting into the Dwarf. Right here, I was doing this because these Black Orcs weren't really doing anything, and my ally will be moving here soon. Because I really need their assistance, because my Savage Orcs are just getting crushed by these Longbeards, as to be expected. We really need these Black Orcs help. You see, General of the Empire is in my Black Orc, who now has the Fist of Gork, adding to the melee defense, weapon attack, and melee attack. And so they're just kind of crushing the General of the Empire, so he's going to get out of there. Again, keeping Wurrzag out of the fight so he can apply his 12% damage resistance buff. Although he can't do armor piercing damage, which is good against the Dwarves. But, I mean, there's a lot of armor piercing here with the Black Orcs. So I'm like, I'm just going to support you with this trait, and you'll be fine. Here come the Crimson Killers with the flank. Don't see them often. Right here, I am dropping a Brainbuster simply to get that buff across our army. You can see down there in the bottom left, that little thing that's cooling down right now is Wurrzag's buff. Again, it does apply to all allied and friendly units. Map-wide, it's one of his special items. So that's why their melee attack is up to 50 instead of just 30-something. It's a very powerful ability. And as long as you bring spammable spells like Brainbuster, Gaze of Mork, Fist of Gork to a lesser extent, it has a longer cooldown. But bring these kind of cheap spells, and then you can keep your army buffed with an insane melee and charge bonus. It's really cool. I like trying utilizing traits like that. The other example would be the Brave Shaman for the Beast, or just the Wild Lore in general, that has that trait that increases everyone's vigor by like 16 or 15% every time you cast a spell. It keeps your troops fresh. I like trying to utilize those types of traits to their max. So anyway, good game to our enemies and to my ally. Yeah, the Empire player, their front line couldn't tank against a bunch of Black Orcs. For my army, not really an impressive amount of kills because our Savage Orcs were fighting against Dwarves. Black Orcs did really well because they do really well against Dwarven infantry lines. For some reason, these Goblins got 46 kills. I'm assuming that's the one that snuck by the Dwarven Longbeards and were killing crossbows, or Quarlers, I mean. The Forest Goblin Spider Riders just crushed all 3 artillery pieces for free. I have no idea why they let me do that. The artillery pieces did really well. Really well. 100-ish kills each is great. The Broken Tusk Mob and the Boarboy Biggins in general, my miss micro for these guys ended up getting them killed for the most part, so they didn't really do too much, but we did at least help shut down one Demigryph Knight with these guys and charged into the Thunderers and Crossbows later on with one Broken Tusk, or one of these guys, so... But I don't know, this is mostly just miss micro, waste of money. For Mandalorian Guard, Azhag, 38 kills is pretty good. Black Orc line did amazing, because they're Black Orcs against cheap melee Empire Infantry and then Longbeards. So yeah, they're going to do pretty good if they're not stopped by, like, ranged or something. Even the Night Goblin Archers, man, they just crushed those Empire troops. Very good. Giant 16 kills, not that much, but at least it tanked a ton of, I'm assuming, artillery and gunner fires, so it did work, I guess. And then their Hammer of Gork, 77 kills and a lot of damage on a Demigryph Knight unit, which is really good. For Get Fecht, clever name. We have 42 kills on the Dwarf Lord, really good. Longbeard line did pretty good against my Savage Orcs, as you saw, but they melted on those Black Orcs. The Quarrelers did really well, and then the Thunderers got sniped early on, so they didn't get to do too much. The Cannons still netted a ton of kills before we managed to shut them down, though, so good job there. And then for Quattro, the human player, we have Witch Hunter with 12 kills. Man, the Witch Hunter is so hard to use. Like, I wish the Witch Hunter was good. I really do. He's not. That's it. Empire Captain only got 6 kills, because I think he was duking it out with Black Orcs for most of that. And again, the Empire Infantry had really no chance against Black Orcs. These Swordsmen got 81 kills, though. I'm assuming that was against my Goblins, or against Night Goblin Archers, because there's no way you got that many kills on Black Orcs. And their artillery was shut down by my ally. These guys netted 82 kills before they died, which is really well. And, yeah, that's going to be it. So, again, hope you enjoyed, everybody. Let's watch a cinematic view of Azhag and Wurrzag, the 2 casters of the Orcs, going at it against the generic General and the generic Lords. We got legendary lords versus generics. That's kind of cool. Anyway, let's go to the cinematic view. These spiders are about to get so much work done. In the middle of Longbeards and Demigryph fights, these guys are going to wipe artillery pieces out. It's insane. Look at these beautiful gobos. Yes! And instead of charging the Demigryph fights in, they run away from the artillery. Save these cannons! Somebody! Don't let these forced goblins do this. What are you doing? This is supposed to be a quick hit and run attack. Ended up being a full battle. Yeah, and here's where these damn Demigryphs catch my broken Tuskmon. These boars are just not fast enough. And I had to wait for him to land before casting FG to get, so we can kill him with the Black Orcs. Not much happening over here yet. Get him, Gabos. Wait, what? The Fate of Buna on the Hammer of the Witches? Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech are kind of both wasted on a Hammer of the Witches. Maybe Spirit Leech would do slightly better. But yeah, Fate of Buna should be saved for as many units as possible, or like Demigryph Knights. Key large unit size units. Not large as in the actual size, but large like in model counts. Fate of Buna does almost nothing to something with as few models as that. Damn, that thing just take point blank shots.
Austin, get out, boys! Let's fight! What? 60. Austin!
Yeah, I didn't notice Wurrzag or Azhag was actually in here at the end. He looks really cool. Giant got to live through the whole thing. A rare occasion for fighting against a dwarf and an Empire player, bringing a giant. They usually get focused on pretty quick. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the battle, everybody, with Wurrzag and Azhag, two legendary casters. I'll see you all next time. Take care. Get both of them in the final shot. I think that's Wurrzag over there.